Hey there, and welcome to Beyond the Veil. I'm here to help you drift off into a peaceful sleep, offering soothing stories and gentle guidance. Before we settle into dreamland, let me know in the comments, which country are you from? And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more restful nights.
Nestled in the unassuming town of Wilder, Kentucky, sits a seemingly ordinary music venue, Bobby Mackey's Music World. But beyond the neon lights and the promise of country tunes lies a chilling reputation, one whispered in hushed tones among locals and paranormal enthusiasts alike. This isn't just a place to grab a beer and two-step. It's a place said to be teeming with restless spirits, a vortex of unsettling energy, and the epicenter of some truly terrifying legends. Before the music ever started, before the dance floor was filled with eager patrons, the land on which Bobby Mackey's now stands bore witness to its own share of tragedy. The very ground beneath the building is steeped in a history that many believe has contributed to the intense paranormal activity. It's a history that stretches back to the days when the area was home to a slaughterhouse, a place where the air was thick with the stench of blood and the echoes of dying animals. The slaughterhouse itself was a brutal place, and many believe the intense suffering and violence that permeated its walls left an indelible mark on the land. But the dark history doesn't stop there. Local lore also speaks of the land being a Native American burial ground, a place sacred to those who came before. It's said that the spirits of those buried there were disturbed when the slaughterhouse was built, and their anger and resentment continue to linger, adding another layer to the already complex tapestry of the paranormal. Even without the ghost stories, Bobby Mackey's would be a fascinating place. It's a classic honky-tonk, a throwback to a bygone era of country music. The walls are adorned with memorabilia, the stage is well-worn, and the atmosphere is undeniably authentic. But it's the stories, the whispers of unexplained phenomena, that truly set Bobby Mackey's apart. These aren't just campfire tales told to spook unsuspecting tourists. These are stories shared by bartenders, waitresses, musicians, and even Bobby Mackey himself. Stories of shadowy figures lurking in the corners of the room, of disembodied voices echoing through the empty halls, and of objects moving on their own accord. Stories that have turned skeptics into believers and have made Bobby Mackey's Music World a must-visit destination for anyone seeking a brush with the supernatural. As we delve deeper into the history of Bobby Mackey's, we'll uncover the truth behind the legends, separating fact from fiction and exploring the evidence that has made this unassuming music venue one of the most haunted places in America. We'll hear from those who have experienced the paranormal firsthand, and we'll examine the theories that attempt to explain the strange happenings within its walls. Be prepared to question your own beliefs as we venture into the darkness that surrounds Bobby Mackey's Music World, a place where the veil between worlds is said to be thin, and the spirits of the past are always listening. The music might draw you in, but the ghosts will keep you there. The chilling tales surrounding Bobby Mackey's aren't just random occurrences. They are deeply intertwined with the very ground upon which the music world stands. As we mentioned, the history of the land is a tapestry woven with threads of violence, suffering, and perhaps even ancient spiritual significance. To truly understand the haunting of Bobby Mackey's, we must delve into the unsettling past of this location. Imagine, if you will, stepping back in time to when the air hung heavy with the metallic tang of blood and the desperate cries of animals, before the lively music and dancing, before the clinking of glasses and the camaraderie of country music fans. This place was a slaughterhouse, a place of death, plain and simple. Animals were brought here, often after long journeys, sensing their impending doom. The fear, the pain, the sheer volume of death that permeated the slaughterhouse is almost unimaginable. The building that housed the slaughterhouse was a grim and utilitarian structure designed for efficiency rather than comfort. The floors were perpetually slick with blood, the walls stained with the residue of countless lives taken. The sounds of the animals' distress echoed through the chambers, a constant reminder of the grim task at hand. It was a place where empathy was a liability, where the focus was solely on the process of transforming living creatures into consumable goods. Many believe that the sheer brutality of the slaughterhouse left an indelible mark on the land, imbuing it with a dark energy that continues to resonate to this day. The spirits of the animals, trapped in a cycle of suffering, are said to linger, their anguish palpable to those who are sensitive to the paranormal. Some have reported hearing faint animal noises when the club is empty, the echoes of a forgotten horror replaying in the stillness of the night. But the slaughterhouse is only one piece of the puzzle. Adding another layer of complexity to the history of the land is the persistent rumor of a Native American burial ground. While concrete evidence remains elusive, the stories persist, passed down through generations of locals. The idea that the land was once sacred, a place of rest and reverence for the ancestors of those who lived here long before European settlers arrived, adds a profound sense of unease to the already troubled history. If the rumors are true, then the construction of the slaughterhouse would have been a desecration, a violation of sacred ground that would have angered the spirits of those buried there. The disruption of their final resting place, combined with the subsequent violence of the slaughterhouse, could have created a potent vortex of negative energy, a catalyst for the paranormal activity that is now associated with Bobby Mackey's. It's important to note that these are just stories, whispers from the past. But they are stories that have been repeated for decades, stories that have shaped the perception of Bobby Mackey's and contributed to its reputation as one of the most haunted places in America. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, it's undeniable that the history of this land is unsettling, a dark undercurrent that flows beneath the surface of the music and merriment. This foundation of sorrow and possible spiritual violation sets the stage for the more specific hauntings that Bobby Mackey's is known for. As if the echoes of slaughtered animals and the potential disturbance of ancient burial grounds weren't enough to create a recipe for paranormal activity, there's another layer to the Bobby Mackey's story, the chilling legend of satanic rituals. This is where the story truly takes a turn into the realm of the macabre, transforming the building from a place of historical tragedy into a potential gateway to something far more sinister. The story goes that, sometime in the late 19th or early 20th century, a group of satanic cultists chose the basement of what is now Bobby Mackey's as the site for their dark practices. The precise details of these rituals are shrouded in rumor and speculation, but the overarching narrative paints a picture of gruesome ceremonies, the invocation of demonic entities, and the potential sacrifice of animals or even humans in an attempt to open a portal to the underworld. The choice of location, of course, wouldn't have been arbitrary. The already blood-soaked ground, the potential spiritual unrest caused by the burial ground desecration, would have served as a powerful amplifier for their rituals, creating a focal point for dark energy. The basement, with its cool dampness and isolation, would have provided the perfect atmosphere for their clandestine activities. According to local lore, the cult's activities reached a fever pitch before they were eventually discovered and driven out of the area. But the damage, it said, was already done. The rituals had weakened the barrier between worlds, creating a permanent opening, a portal to hell as it's often called, in the depths of the basement. This portal isn't necessarily envisioned as a literal doorway, but rather as a point of concentrated negative energy, a place where the veil between our world and the demonic realm is thin. It's believed that this portal allows malevolent entities to cross over, influencing the events that occur within the building and contributing to the intense paranormal activity that has been reported. The specifics of the rituals themselves are, thankfully, vague. Most accounts focus on the aftermath, the residual energy that permeates the basement, the unsettling feeling of being watched, and the sense of dread that descends upon those who venture too close to the supposed portal. Some believe that the shadowy figure often seen lurking in the corners of Bobby Mackey's is directly tied to these satanic rituals. Perhaps it's the spirit of a cult leader, forever bound to the site of his dark practices, or perhaps it's a demonic entity, drawn to the portal and feeding off the negative energy that lingers there. Regardless of the truth behind the legends, the story of the satanic rituals adds another layer of darkness to the already complex history of Bobby Mackey's. It transforms the building from a place of simple tragedy into a potential battleground between good and evil, a place where the forces of darkness are actively trying to gain a foothold in our world. It's a chilling thought, and one that has undoubtedly contributed to the venue's enduring reputation as one of the most haunted places in America. The lore surrounding Bobby Mackey's becomes even more intricate and tragic with the introduction of Pearl Bryan, a young woman whose life was brutally cut short in a crime that continues to haunt the region. While not directly linked to the building itself by concrete evidence, the whispers connecting Pearl's murder to the land beneath Bobby Mackey's add another layer of darkness and sorrow to its already troubled history. In 1896, Pearl Bryan, a pregnant 22-year-old woman from Greencastle, Indiana, was lured to Cincinnati by her lover, Scott Jackson, along with his accomplice, Alonzo Walling, performed a crude abortion on Pearl, which ultimately led to her agonizing death. The details of the crime are gruesome and disturbing, painting a picture of callous disregard for human life. What makes this case particularly relevant to the story of Bobby Mackey's is the rumor that Pearl's body, or at least parts of it, were disposed of in the slaughterhouse that once stood on the land. Some versions of the story even claim that her blood was used in the satanic rituals that were supposedly performed in the basement. There is no definitive proof to support these claims. The official investigation focused on Jackson and Walling, who were eventually convicted and executed for their crime. However, the whispers persist, fueled by the darkness that already surrounds Bobby Mackey's and the gruesome nature of Pearl's murder. The idea that Pearl's remains could have been discarded in the slaughterhouse, mixed with the blood and offal of slaughtered animals, is a horrifying thought. It adds another layer of suffering to the already troubled history of the land, and it potentially creates another source of paranormal activity. If Pearl's spirit is indeed tied to the land beneath Bobby Mackey's, it's likely that she is a tormented soul, trapped in a cycle of pain and anguish. Some believe that her presence is responsible for some of the more disturbing phenomena reported at the club, including feelings of intense sadness, unexplained crying, and the apparition of a young woman in distress. The connection between Pearl Bryan and the satanic rituals is even more speculative, but it adds a particularly chilling dimension to the story. The thought that her blood could have been used in an attempt to open a portal to hell is a truly terrifying one, and it raises questions about the potential motivations of the cultists and the extent of their depravity. Whether or not these rumors are true, the story of Pearl Bryan serves as a stark reminder of the darkness that can exist in the human heart. It's a story of betrayal, violence, and the tragic loss of a young life. And it's a story that, whether directly connected to Bobby Mackey's or not, contributes to the overall sense of unease and foreboding that permeates the venue. Pearl's tragic story, intertwined with the other dark legends, makes Bobby Mackey's a place where the past refuses to stay buried. While the history and legends surrounding Bobby Mackey's paint a vivid picture of a potentially haunted location, it's the personal experiences of those who have spent time within its walls that truly bring the stories to life. And no one has spent more time at Bobby Mackey's than Bobby Mackey himself. His journey from a skeptical owner to a believer in the paranormal is a testament to the power of the unexplained phenomena that seem to permeate his music world. Initially, Bobby Mackey was, understandably, dismissive of the ghost stories that he was a businessman, focused on running a successful music venue. The tales of hauntings were, in his eyes, just that. Tales. He likely saw them as good for business, perhaps, adding a certain mystique to his establishment, but he didn't necessarily believe them himself. However, over time, things began to change. Bobby started experiencing things he couldn't explain, things that challenged his rational worldview. These weren't just vague feelings or fleeting glimpses. They were tangible events that left him questioning everything he thought he knew about the world. He's spoken of hearing disembodied voices when he was alone in the club, whispers that seemed to come from nowhere. He's described objects moving on their own, doors slamming shut, and lights flickering inexplicably. Perhaps most disturbingly, he's recounted instances of feeling a malevolent presence, a sense of being watched by something unseen. One particularly chilling story involves Bobby working late one night, alone in his office. He heard a distinct growl coming from the basement, a sound that he described as inhuman and terrifying. He grabbed a flashlight and cautiously made his way downstairs, but found nothing. The feeling of unease, however, lingered long after the growl had faded. These experiences, repeated over the years, slowly chipped away at Bobby's skepticism. He began to realize that there was something more to Bobby Mackey's than just a building and a business. There was a dark energy, a presence that he couldn't deny. Bobby's transformation from skeptic to believer has made him a key figure in the Bobby Mackey's story. He's not just the owner of the club, he's a witness to the paranormal activity that occurs there. His personal experiences lend credibility to the ghost stories and make them all the more compelling. He's become more open to paranormal investigations, allowing psychics and ghost hunters to explore the building and document their findings. He's also become more attuned to the energies within the club, able to sense when something is amiss. Bobby Mackey's story is a reminder that sometimes the most compelling evidence for the paranormal comes not from scientific instruments or elaborate investigations, but from the personal experiences of ordinary people. His journey from disbelief to acceptance is a central part of the Bobby Mackey's legend, adding a human element to the chilling tales of hauntings and dark forces. His willingness to share his experiences has solidified Bobby Mackey's music world as a destination for those seeking proof that there is more to this world than meets the eye. Beyond Bobby Mackey's own encounters, perhaps the most well-known and chilling story associated with the music world is that of Carl Lawson, a former caretaker whose experiences within the building are said to be among the most terrifying and intensely documented. Carl's story is a cautionary tale, a grim illustration of the potential consequences of prolonged exposure to the dark energies that are believed to reside within Bobby Mackey's. Carl Lawson wasn't a ghost hunter or a paranormal investigator. He was simply a man who needed a job. He took on the role of caretaker at Bobby Mackey's, responsible for the upkeep and maintenance of the building. He likely wasn't particularly interested in the ghost stories, perhaps even scoffing at them. But over time, Carl's skepticism was eroded by a series of increasingly disturbing events. He started hearing noises when he was alone in the building, footsteps on the stairs, and whispers in the darkness. He saw shadows moving in the periphery of his vision, and he felt a constant sense of being watched. Initially, he tried to rationalize these experiences. He attributed the noises to the building settling, the shadows to tricks of the light, and the feeling of being watched to his own imagination. But as the events escalated, he found it increasingly difficult to deny that something strange was happening. The turning point in Carl's story came when he began to experience what many believe was a case of demonic possession. He started acting erratically, his personality changing drastically. He became withdrawn, angry, and prone to fits of rage. He spoke in voices that weren't his own, and he exhibited physical strength that was far beyond his normal capabilities. Those who knew Carl before his time at Bobby Mackey's described him as a kind and gentle man. But after his experiences at the club, he was a changed person, consumed by a darkness that seemed to emanate from within. The story of Carl Lawson is often cited as evidence of the malevolent forces that are believed to inhabit Bobby Mackey's. It's a reminder that the paranormal is not just about harmless ghosts and spooky occurrences. It's about potentially dangerous energies that can have a profound impact on those who come into contact with them. Carl's story also raises questions about the nature of possession and the vulnerability of the human mind. Was he truly possessed by a demonic entity? Or was he simply suffering from a mental illness that was exacerbated by the stress and fear of his experiences at Bobby Mackey's? Whatever the explanation, the story of Carl Lawson is a tragic one. It's a reminder that the pursuit of the paranormal can be dangerous, and that it's important to approach these matters with caution and respect. His experiences serve as a stark warning, highlighting the potential for darkness to not only haunt a building, but to consume a person. Given the intense stories and reputation, it's no surprise that Bobby Mackey's music world has become a magnet for psychics and paranormal investigators eager to explore the source and nature of the hauntings. Over the years, numerous teams have descended upon the club, armed with their equipment and their sensitivities, hoping to unravel the mysteries that shroud the building. These investigations often involve a variety of techniques, from electromagnetic field (EMF), readers and electronic voice phenomena (EVP), recorders to dowsing rods and seances. The goal is to detect any anomalies, capture any disembodied voices, and communicate with any spirits that may be present. Many psychics who have visited Bobby Mackey's have reported feeling a strong sense of unease, a palpable darkness that seems to emanate from the basement. They've described sensing the presence of multiple entities, some benevolent, others malevolent. Some have even claimed to have communicated directly with the spirits of Pearl Bryan, the animals that were slaughtered in the building, and the cultists who supposedly performed their rituals. One common theme that emerges from these psychic investigations is the presence of a powerful negative energy in the basement, particularly around the area that is believed to be the portal to hell. Psychics have described this area as feeling cold, heavy, and oppressive, as if a great weight is pressing down on them. Some have even reported experiencing physical symptoms, such as nausea, dizziness, and headaches, while in the basement. The evidence gathered by these investigations is often subjective, relying on the sensitivities and interpretations of the psychics involved. However, many paranormal investigators have also attempted to gather more objective data, using equipment to measure EMF levels, temperature fluctuations, and other environmental anomalies. EVP recordings have also been a source of intrigue. Many investigators claim to have captured disembodied voices on their recorders, voices that seem to respond to questions or make cryptic comments. The interpretation of these EVPs is often debated, but some are undeniably chilling, seeming to confirm the presence of intelligent entities within the building. While the scientific validity of these paranormal investigations is often questioned, they provide valuable insights into the subjective experiences of those who have spent time at Bobby Mackey's. They also contribute to the overall narrative of the haunting, adding another layer of detail and complexity to the story. The findings of these psychic and paranormal investigations, combined with the personal experiences of Bobby Mackey and Carl Lawson, have helped to solidify the club's reputation as one of the most haunted places in America. They offer a glimpse into the unseen world, a world that is often just beyond our perception, but that seems to be particularly active within the walls of Bobby Mackey's music world. Beyond the investigations and the stories of Bobby and Carl, a significant portion of the lore surrounding Bobby Mackey's music world comes from the countless eyewitness accounts of patrons and employees who have experienced strange and unexplained phenomena within its walls. These aren't professional ghost hunters or seasoned psychics. These are ordinary people who simply happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, or perhaps the right place if they were seeking a brush with the supernatural. The types of experiences reported vary, but certain themes emerge repeatedly. One of the most common is the sighting of apparitions. These aren't always full-bodied ghosts, but often shadowy figures lurking in the corners of the room, fleeting glimpses of human-like forms, or unexplained movements in the periphery of vision. Some patrons have reported seeing the apparition of a woman in a white dress, believed to be the spirit of Pearl Bryan, wandering the dance floor or weeping in the ladies' restroom. Others have described seeing a dark, shadowy figure lurking in the basement, a presence that exudes a sense of menace and dread. Unexplained noises are another common occurrence. People have reported hearing disembodied voices whispering their names, phantom footsteps on the stairs, and the faint sounds of music or singing when the club is empty. Some have even claimed to have heard the cries of animals, a chilling reminder of the slaughterhouse that once stood on the land. Objects moving on their own is another frequently reported phenomenon. Bartenders have described glasses flying off shelves, chairs tipping over for no apparent reason, and doors slamming shut seemingly by an unseen force. These incidents are often attributed to poltergeist activity, a type of haunting characterized by mischievous or even malevolent spirits. Perhaps the most unsettling experiences are those that involve physical sensations. Patrons have reported feeling cold spots, sudden drops in temperature, and the sensation of being touched by an unseen hand. Some have even described feeling a sense of dread or oppression, a heavy weight pressing down on them that makes it difficult to breathe. These eyewitness accounts, while anecdotal, are compelling because of their sheer volume and consistency. They come from people of all walks of life, people with no apparent motive to fabricate or exaggerate their experiences. The fact that so many people have reported similar phenomena suggests that there is something truly unusual happening at Bobby Mackey's music world, that it's easy to dismiss these stories as the product of overactive imaginations or the power of suggestion. But for those who have experienced these phenomena firsthand, the memories are vivid and unforgettable. They serve as a reminder that there are mysteries in this world that science cannot explain, and that sometimes the best evidence for the paranormal comes from the personal experiences of ordinary people. At the heart of the Bobby Mackey's haunting lore lies the basement, the epicenter of the reported paranormal activity and the location of the infamous portal to hell. This subterranean space, steeped in shadow and whispered secrets, is said to be the most active and terrifying area of the entire building. Descending the creaking wooden steps into the basement is like stepping into another world. The air immediately becomes cooler, heavier, and thick with an unsettling stillness. The scent of damp earth and something indefinably musty fills the nostrils, a smell that speaks of long-forgotten things and buried secrets. The basement itself is a labyrinthine space, a network of interconnected rooms and corridors that seem to twist and turn in disorienting ways. The walls are made of rough-hewn stone, stained with moisture and covered in patches of mold. The low ceilings and narrow passageways create a sense of claustrophobia, as if the building itself is trying to constrict and confine those who dare to venture within. The lighting is dim and flickering, casting long, dancing shadows that play tricks on the eyes that it's easy to imagine figures lurking in the darkness, just beyond the reach of the light, watching and waiting. It is within this basement that the satanic rituals were supposedly performed, and it is here that the portal to hell is said to reside. While its exact location is debated, it is generally believed to be in one of the deepest, darkest corners of the basement, a place where the veil between worlds is thin. Those who have visited the supposed location of the portal have described feeling an overwhelming sense of dread, a feeling of being watched by something ancient and malevolent. They've reported experiencing physical symptoms such as nausea, dizziness, and headaches, as well as intense feelings of anxiety and fear. Some have even claimed to have seen apparitions in the basement, shadowy figures that seem to materialize out of the darkness and then vanish without a trace. Others have reported hearing disembodied voices whispering in their ears, voices that seem to taunt and threaten them. The basement is also said to be a hotspot for electronic voice phenomena, EVP. Paranormal investigators have captured countless recordings of disembodied voices in the basement, voices that seem to respond to questions and make cryptic comments. These EVPs are often cited as evidence of the intelligent entities that are believed to inhabit the building. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, there's no denying that the basement of Bobby Mackey's music world is a place of palpable unease. It's a space that is steeped in history, legend, and the collective fears of those who have visited it. It's a place where the veil between worlds seems thin, and where the forces of darkness are said to be particularly strong. It is a place that many consider to be a true gateway to the unknown, and perhaps to something far more sinister. While the stories and experiences associated with Bobby Mackey's are compelling, it's important to acknowledge that there are other perspectives to consider. Not everyone who visits Bobby Mackey's experiences the paranormal, and some are quick to dismiss the stories as mere folklore, fueled by overactive imaginations and the power of suggestion. Skeptics often point to the lack of concrete scientific evidence to support the claims of hauntings. They argue that the apparitions, unexplained noises, and other phenomena can be explained by natural causes, such as drafts, faulty wiring, or the psychological effects of being in a dark and unsettling environment. They also point to the power of suggestion. The reputation of Bobby Mackey's as a haunted location is well known, and it's possible that visitors are more likely to interpret ambiguous stimuli as evidence of paranormal activity simply because they are expecting to see or hear something strange. Furthermore, some skeptics argue that the stories of hauntings are perpetuated by those who stand to benefit from them, such as the owners of the club, who may use the ghost stories to attract tourists and boost business. It's also worth noting that many of the eyewitness accounts are anecdotal, relying on the subjective experiences of individuals. While these experiences may be genuine, they are difficult to verify and can be influenced by personal biases and expectations. Even the paranormal investigations conducted at Bobby Mackey's are not without their critics. Skeptics question the validity of the methods used by psychics and ghost hunters, arguing that they are often unscientific and prone to misinterpretation. They also point to the lack of replicability in paranormal research, noting that it is difficult to consistently produce the same results under controlled conditions. However, even the most ardent skeptics often acknowledge that there are some aspects of the Bobby Mackey story that are difficult to explain. The sheer volume of eyewitness accounts, the consistency of the reported phenomena, and the personal experiences of Bobby Mackey himself all suggest that there may be something more to the story than just folklore and imagination. Ultimately, whether you believe in the hauntings at Bobby Mackey's is a matter of personal opinion. There is no definitive proof to convince everyone, and the debate is likely to continue for years to come. However, it's important to consider all sides of the story, to weigh the evidence carefully, and to come to your own conclusions based on the available information. Even if you remain skeptical, it's hard to deny that Bobby Mackey's music world is a place with a fascinating and unsettling history, a history that continues to captivate and intrigue people from all walks of life. Regardless of one's personal beliefs about the paranormal, it's undeniable that the stories surrounding Bobby Mackey's music world have had a profound impact on the club's legacy and its appeal. The hauntings have transformed the venue from a simple country music bar into a cultural phenomenon, a destination for paranormal enthusiasts, and a subject of countless documentaries, books, and television shows. The reputation of Bobby Mackey's as a haunted location has undoubtedly drawn a unique clientele. Ghost hunters, paranormal investigators, and thrill seekers from around the world flock to the club, hoping to experience the unexplained phenomena firsthand. This influx of paranormal tourists has provided a significant boost to the local economy, as visitors fill hotels, restaurants, and other businesses in the area. But the legacy of Bobby Mackey's extends beyond just tourism. The stories of hauntings have also made the club a source of local pride and fascination. Residents of Wilder, Kentucky, have grown up hearing the tales of ghosts and demons, and many have their own personal stories to share. The club has also become a popular location for film and television productions. Numerous documentaries and reality shows have been filmed at Bobby Mackey's, showcasing the venue's unique history and the reported paranormal activity. These productions have helped to spread the club's reputation far and wide, making it one of the most recognizable haunted locations in the world. However, the legacy of Bobby Mackey's is not without its challenges. The intense focus on the hauntings has sometimes overshadowed the club's primary purpose as a music venue. Some patrons have complained that the focus on the paranormal has detracted from the music and the atmosphere of the bar. Furthermore, the stories of demons and satanic rituals have sometimes attracted unwanted attention from individuals who are drawn to the darker aspects of the paranormal. This has led to concerns about security and the potential for the club to be targeted by those with malicious intentions. Despite these challenges, the legacy of Bobby Mackey's music world remains strong. The hauntings have become an integral part of the club's identity, shaping its image, attracting visitors, and sparking countless conversations and debates. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, it's hard to deny that Bobby Mackey's is a place with a unique and enduring legacy. A legacy that is likely to continue for many years to come. Bobby Mackey's music world continues its journey through time. One figure remains constant. Bobby Mackey himself. He's not just a name on the marquee. He's the heart and soul of the establishment, the man who has witnessed firsthand the strange and unsettling events that have made it famous. So, what does Bobby Mackey think about it all today? After years of experiencing the paranormal activity, Bobby Mackey has fully embraced the club's haunted reputation. He's no longer the skeptic he once was. He openly acknowledges the presence of spirits and the potential for dark forces to be at play within his club. He sees himself as a steward of the building, responsible for protecting it and its patrons from the negative energies that may reside there. He's become more attuned to the energies within the club, able to sense when something is amiss. He's even developed his own methods for dealing with the paranormal activity, such as performing blessings and clearing the space of negative energy. Bobby believes that the spirits at Bobby Mackey's are a mix of different entities, some benevolent, others malevolent. He believes that Pearl Bryan is one of the more active spirits, often manifesting as a feeling of sadness or distress. He also believes that the satanic rituals that were supposedly performed in the basement have left a lasting mark on the building, creating a vortex of negative energy that attracts dark forces. Despite the potential dangers, Bobby is not afraid. He sees the hauntings as a part of the club's history and a testament to the power of the unexplained. He believes that the spirits are drawn to the club because of its history, its energy, and the emotions of the people who visit it. Bobby also recognizes the importance of respecting the spirits. He encourages visitors to be mindful of their behavior and to avoid provoking or disrespecting the entities that may be present. He believes that treating the spirits with respect is the best way to ensure that they don't become hostile or dangerous. Today, Bobby Mackey is a living legend, a figure who is as much a part of the Bobby Mackey story as the ghosts and demons that are said to haunt its halls. He's a man who has seen the unseen, who has heard the unheard, and who has come to believe in the power of the paranormal. His perspective is a unique and valuable one, offering a glimpse into a world that is often hidden from view. And even now, he continues to welcome those who are curious about the mysteries of Bobby Mackey's music world, sharing his stories and insights with anyone who dares to listen. He's the keeper of the legend, the guardian of the gateway, and the man who continues to keep the music playing, even in the face of the unknown. We've explored the history, the legends, the eyewitness accounts, and even the skeptical viewpoints surrounding Bobby Mackey's music world. Now, as we approach the end of our journey, it's time to reflect on the enduring mystery of this enigmatic place. Whether you believe in ghosts, demons, and portals to hell or not, there's no denying that Bobby Mackey's music world has captured the imagination of countless people. It's a place where the veil between worlds seems thin, where the past refuses to stay buried, and where the line between reality and illusion becomes blurred. The stories of hauntings, the legends of satanic rituals, and the tragic tale of Pearl Bryan all contribute to the club's unique and unsettling atmosphere. They create a sense of foreboding, a feeling that anything is possible, and that the unexpected is always just around the corner. For some, Bobby Mackey's is a place of fear, a place to be avoided at all costs. The stories of demonic possession, violent spirits, and shadowy figures lurking in the darkness are enough to keep them away. For others, Bobby Mackey's is a place of fascination, a place to explore the unknown and test the limits of their own beliefs. They are drawn to the club by its reputation as a haunted location, eager to experience the paranormal firsthand and to uncover the truth behind the legends. And for still others, Bobby Mackey's is simply a place of entertainment, a a place to enjoy live music, have a few drinks, and socialize with friends. They may be aware of the ghost stories, but they don't let them interfere with their enjoyment of the club. Ultimately, what you believe about Bobby Mackey's is a matter of personal choice. There is no definitive proof to convince everyone, and the debate is likely to continue for years to come. But regardless of your beliefs, it's important to recognize the power of storytelling. The stories that we tell about places like Bobby Mackey's shape our perception of them, influencing our emotions, our expectations, and our experiences. The stories of hauntings can evoke feelings of fear, wonder, and curiosity. They can challenge our assumptions about the nature of reality and open our minds to the possibility of the unseen. They can also remind us of the importance of respecting the past, of acknowledging the tragedies and traumas that have shaped the places we inhabit. And perhaps most importantly, the stories of Bobby Mackey's remind us of the power of belief. What we believe can influence what we perceive, and what we perceive can shape our reality. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, the power of belief is undeniable. The mystery of Bobby Mackey's music world endures, not because of definitive proof, but because of the human element woven into its narrative. Ultimately, the stories we tell, the experiences we share, and the beliefs we hold shape our reality, and that is certainly true of Bobby Mackey's. So, as we reach our conclusion, let's consider the power of storytelling itself. The stories of Bobby Mackey's have been passed down through generations, evolving and adapting with each retelling. They are a reflection of our fears, our hopes, and our fascination with the unknown. They tap into something primal within us, a desire to understand the mysteries of the universe and to connect with something beyond our everyday existence. These stories also serve as a reminder of the importance of history. The land beneath Bobby Mackey's has witnessed countless events, from the brutal slaughter of animals to the tragic death of Pearl Bryan to the rumored satanic rituals. These events have left their mark on the land, creating a tapestry of energy and emotion that continues to resonate to this day. By telling these stories, we honor the past and acknowledge the suffering that has occurred. We also learn from the mistakes of those who came before us, striving to create a better future. And, perhaps most importantly, the stories of Bobby Mackey's remind us of the power of community. The club has become a gathering place for people from all walks of life, people who are drawn together by their shared interest in the paranormal, their love of music, or simply their desire to experience something unique in a world that is often divided by differences. Bobby Mackey's offers a sense of belonging, a place where people can connect with one another and share their experiences, regardless of their beliefs. So, as we conclude our exploration of Bobby Mackey's music world, let us remember the power of storytelling, the importance of history, and the strength of community. Let us continue to share the stories, to explore the mysteries, and to embrace the unknown. And let us never forget that even in the darkest of places, there is always the possibility of light, of hope, and of human connection. The story of Bobby Mackey's may be a ghost story, but it's also a human story, a story that reflects our deepest fears and our greatest hopes. And that is why it continues to endure, captivating and intriguing us for generations to come. The final chapter is never truly written, because the music and the mysteries continue to play on. So, what happens now? The music is still playing, the lights are still on, and the stories continue to be told. Bobby Mackey's music world remains a place where the past and present intertwine, where the veil between worlds seems thin, and where the possibility of the unexplained lingers in the AI. As you leave this journey into the heart of Bobby Mackey's, the most important question remains: what do you believe? Have the eyewitness accounts swayed you? Does the history of the land, steeped in violence and potential desecration, resonate with your own sense of the unseen? Or do you lean toward skepticism, finding rational explanations for the strange occurrences and attributing the legends to folklore and imagination? There is no right or wrong answer. The beauty of Bobby Mackey's lies in its ambiguity, in its ability to spark debate and to challenge our preconceived notions about the nature of reality. It is a place where belief is paramount, where what you choose to see and hear can shape your entire experience. If you are a believer, perhaps you will feel a sense of validation, a confirmation that there is more to this world than meets the eye. You may be inspired to seek out your own paranormal experiences, to explore the mysteries that lie hidden just beneath the surface of our everyday lives. If you are a skeptic, perhaps you will feel a sense of satisfaction, a reassurance that the world is ultimately a rational and explainable place. You may be inspired to continue questioning, to challenge assumptions, and to seek out scientific explanations for the unexplained. And if you are somewhere in between, perhaps you will simply feel a sense of wonder, a recognition that there are mysteries in this world that we may never fully understand. You may be inspired to keep an open mind, to listen to different perspectives, and to embrace the ambiguity of the unknown. Whatever your beliefs, I hope that this exploration of Bobby Mackey's music world has been both entertaining and thought-provoking. I hope that it has challenged you to question your own assumptions and to consider the power of storytelling in shaping our perceptions of the world. The story of Bobby Mackey's is a story that is still being written. The music continues to play, the lights continue to flicker, and the stories continue to be told. And as long as there are people who are willing to listen, the mystery of Bobby Mackey's music world will endure, captivating and intriguing us for generations to come. So, step out into the night and remember the stories you've heard. Perhaps, desert air shimmers outside. You'll hear a whisper haze distorting the already surreal landscape of Tucson, Arizona. But inside the Hotel Congress, a different kind of distortion occurs, one whispered about in hushed tones, shared between wary guests and longtime employees. It's a story of love, loss, and a lingering presence that refuses to fade away. They say she still walks these halls. Imagine checking into room 242, the antique key heavy in your hand, the floorboards creaking softly beneath your feet. As you make your way down the dimly lit hallway, the air suddenly chills, despite the desert heat seeping in from outside. A flicker of movement catches the corner of your eye, a shimmering white figure gliding past the doorway at the end of the corridor. You blink, and it's gone. This isn't just some spooky set dressing. It's a legend woven into the very fabric of the Hotel Congress. For decades, guests and staff have reported sightings of a spectral woman in a wedding dress, wandering the hallways, her face etched with sorrow, forever searching. She's become known as the Vanishing Bride, a tragic figure said to be eternally bound to this historic landmark, the Hotel Congress. The name itself conjures images of a bygone era, of smoky bars, clinking glasses, and the rhythmic rumble of trains pulling into the nearby station. Built in 1919, it wasn't just a hotel. It was a destination, a social hub for Tucson's elite, and a welcoming oasis for travelers crossing the vast American Southwest. It was a place where deals were made, secrets were kept, and occasionally tragedy struck. The early 20th century Southwest felt like the edge of the world. The Hotel Congress soon became the place for those living on that edge to unwind. Cowboys, miners, ranchers, and various ne'er-do-wells mingled in the bar with traveling businessmen. The hotel became a popular place for those who wanted to see and be seen, and it thrived through most of the 1920s. The Roaring Twenties eventually screeched to a halt, however. The hotel began a slow decline that would lead to tragedy. But before we delve deeper into the spectral sightings and the chilling details of the Vanishing Bride, we need to understand the event that supposedly birthed this ghostly legend. The devastating fire of 1934 at IT was a night that would forever change the fate of the Hotel Congress, etching a tale of bravery, chaos, and unimaginable loss into its very foundation. It's a story of heroism, and a mystery that may never be fully solved. It also involves one of America's most notorious criminals. The Hotel Congress, more than just bricks and mortar, holds within it the echoes of a rich and sometimes turbulent past. To truly understand the legend of the Vanishing Bride, we must delve deeper into the story of the building itself, a story inextricably linked to the history of Tucson and the American Southwest. Imagine Tucson in 1919. It wasn't the sprawling metropolis it is today. It was a dusty, sun-baked town, crossroads between cultures and a vital link in the burgeoning railroad network. The Southern Pacific Railroad was the lifeblood of the region, and the Hotel Congress was strategically built right across the street from the train depot. It was intended to be more than just a place to sleep. It was to be a grand statement, a symbol of Tucson's aspirations and its connection to the wider world. The architecture reflected this ambition. Designed in the Mission Revival style, the hotel boasted elegant arches, red-tiled roofs, and wrought iron balconies. Inside, guests were greeted by polished hardwood floors, ornate chandeliers, and plush furnishings. It was a far cry from the rough-and-tumble saloons and boarding houses that previously dominated the Tucson landscape. The Hotel Congress quickly became a hub for travelers, businessmen, and even celebrities. Silent film stars, politicians, and wealthy industrialists all passed through its doors. The hotel's copper room bar became a legendary watering hole, a place where deals were struck, secrets were shared, and fortunes were won and lost. It was a melting pot of cultures and personalities, a place where the Wild West met the modern world. But the hotel's history isn't just about glamour and sophistication. It's also intertwined with tales of daring heists and infamous criminals. And that's where the story takes an unexpected turn, leading us to a connection with one of the most notorious figures in American history, John Dillinger. In January 1934, just a few weeks before the devastating fire, John Dillinger and his gang were in Tucson. They had pulled off a string of bank robberies across the Midwest and were lying low, hoping to evade the relentless pursuit of the FBI. Several members of the gang checked into the Hotel Congress, using aliases, of course. Now, accounts vary, but the general story is that a fire broke out in their room, a careless cigarette, perhaps, or a faulty electrical wire. Whatever the cause, the fire spread quickly, and the gang members were forced to flee, leaving behind their luggage. Here's where the story gets interesting. The quick-thinking hotel clerk, recognizing the men from their pictures in newspapers, contacted the authorities. When the police searched the abandoned luggage, they found a veritable arsenal of weapons and a significant amount of cash evidence that directly linked the men to the recent bank robberies. The arrest of Dillinger's gang at the Hotel Congress made national headlines, cementing the hotel's place in American folklore. It was a moment of triumph for Tucson, a testament to the vigilance and bravery of its citizens. But it also served as a dark prelude to the tragedy that would soon follow. The fire that exposed Dillinger also foreshadowed the greater inferno that would engulf the hotel and, according to legend, trap the spirit of the Vanishing Bride within its walls. So you see, even before the tragedy that birthed its most famous ghost story, the Hotel Congress had already lived a life worthy of legends. The year is 1934. The Great Depression is gripping the nation, but the Hotel Congress, despite the economic hardship, continues to operate, a beacon of hope and normalcy in a struggling world. Little did anyone know that a different kind of disaster was about to strike, one that would leave an indelible mark on the hotel's history and give rise to its most enduring legend. On the morning of January 21st, a fire erupted in the hotel's mezzanine. The exact cause remains a mystery to this day. Some say it was an electrical fault, others claim it was arson, perhaps even connected to Dillinger's gang seeking revenge for their capture. Whatever the origin, the flames spread with terrifying speed, fueled by the hotel's wooden structure and the dry desert air. Panic erupted. Guests scrambled to escape the inferno, many trapped in their rooms by the rapidly spreading smoke and flames. The hotel staff, however, rose to the occasion, displaying remarkable courage and selflessness. They raced through the burning hallways, banging on doors, guiding guests to safety, and battling the blaze with whatever resources they could find. Newspapers at the time described scenes of chaos and heroism. Guests were lowered from windows on makeshift ropes of bed sheets. Firefighters battled the flames with axes and hoses, struggling to contain the inferno. The air was thick with smoke and the screams of those trapped inside. Amidst the chaos, stories of bravery emerged. One hotel employee, a young bellhop named Something, repeatedly ran back into the burning building to rescue guests, suffering severe burns in the process. Another staff member, a waitress in the copper room, helped to evacuate elderly residents, carrying them to safety despite the intense heat and smoke. The fire raged for hours, consuming much of the hotel's upper floors. When the flames were finally extinguished, the Hotel Congress was a smoldering ruin. The damage was extensive, and the financial losses were significant. But miraculously, despite the intensity of the blaze, only a few lives were lost. The heroism of the staff and the quick response of the firefighters had prevented a much greater tragedy. But among those who survived, there were whispers of a young woman, a bride-to-be, who had been staying at the hotel with her family, preparing for her wedding. Whispers that she had been separated from her loved ones in the chaos, lost in the smoke and flames. Whispers that she had perished in the fire, still waiting for her groom. While official records don't confirm the death of a bride in the fire, the story persisted, fueled by eyewitness accounts and the pervasive sense of loss that hung over the Hotel Congress in the aftermath of the disaster. It was from the ashes of this tragedy that the legend of the vanishing bride was truly born, a story of love, loss, and a lingering presence that continues to captivate and intrigue to this day. The details of her fate are murky, lost to the smoke and confusion of that terrible day, but the legend of her enduring spirit, that's a story that refuses to be extinguished. So, who was this vanishing bride? Was she a real person, a victim of the fire whose tragic fate has been embellished over time? Or is she a composite figure, symbol of the loss and trauma associated with that devastating event? The truth, as with many ghost stories, is elusive, shrouded in mystery and open to interpretation. The most common version of the legend tells of a young woman named, let's call her Sarah, who arrived at the Hotel Congress with her family just days before her wedding. She was radiant with happiness, eager to begin her new life with her fiancé, a young rancher from a nearby town. The hotel was abuzz with excitement as the wedding preparations unfolded. The copper room was booked for the reception. The finest linens were ordered, and the air was filled with the sweet scent of floral arrangements. Sarah, according to the legend, was a vision in white. Her wedding dress, a delicate creation of lace and silk, was the centerpiece of the festivities. She spent hours being fitted and fussed over, her laughter echoing through the hotel hallways. She was, by all accounts, the picture of a happy bride-to-be on the night of the fire. Sarah was reportedly in her room, putting the final touches on her wedding preparations. Her fiancé was due to arrive the following morning, and she was filled with anticipation when the fire broke out. She was separated from her family in the chaos. Some say she was trying to retrieve her wedding dress, determined to save it from the flames. Others claim she was searching for her fiancé, convinced that he had arrived early and was trapped in the burning building. Whatever the reason, Sarah became lost in the inferno. The smoke was thick, the flames were intense, and the hallways were filled with panicked guests. She called out for help, but her cries were lost in the din. She stumbled through the burning corridors, her white dress billowing around her, until she was overcome by the smoke and heat. The story goes that her body was never recovered, or if it was never identified. The chaos of the fire made it impossible to account for everyone who had been staying at the hotel. And so, Sarah became a ghost, forever trapped within the walls of the Hotel Congress, forever searching for her lost love, forever waiting for the wedding that would never be. This is, of course, just one version of the story. Over the years, the details have changed, the characters have been added and subtracted, and the legend has evolved to fit the imaginations of those who tell it. But the core elements remain the same. A young woman, a wedding, a fire, and a lingering spirit. Whether Sarah was a real person or a figment of the collective imagination, her story has become an integral part of the Hotel Congress's identity. She is a symbol of the hotel's rich history, its enduring spirit, and its connection to the past. And she is a reminder that even in the face of tragedy, love and hope can endure, even beyond the grave. But what exactly do people see that makes them believe in Sarah, the vanishing bride? Let's delve into some of the eyewitness accounts that have kept this legend alive for generations. The stories vary, but common threads run through almost every account of a sighting of the vanishing bride. The most frequently reported detail is, of course, the wedding dress. Witnesses describe a flowing white gown, often appearing aged and slightly singed, as though bearing the marks of the fire that claimed its wearers. Some describe intricate lace detailing, while others focus on the simple elegance of the silk fabric. Another recurring element is the bride's demeanor. She is rarely described as menacing or malevolent. Instead, she is portrayed as a figure of profound sadness, her face etched with sorrow, her eyes filled with a deep longing. Many witnesses say she appears lost and confused, as if she is still searching for something or someone. Often, the sightings occur in specific areas of the hotel. The hallways on the upper floors, particularly near rooms that were heavily damaged in the fire, are common locations. The copper room, where Sarah's wedding reception was supposedly planned, is another hotspot for reported activity. Some have even claimed to see her near the old train depot, as if she's still waiting for her groom to arrive. But let's move beyond the general descriptions and delve into some specific eyewitness accounts. These are not just fleeting glimpses or vague impressions. These are detailed narratives from individuals who claim to have had direct encounters with the vanishing bride. One particularly compelling account comes from a guest who stayed at the Hotel Congress in the early 2000s. He was a businessman, traveling to Tucson for a conference. He wasn't aware of the hotel's haunted reputation and considered himself a skeptic when it came to paranormal phenomena. He checked into room 312, a room on the third floor that overlooked the train tracks he worked late into the night, preparing for his presentation, and finally went to bed around 2:00 a.m. He awoke suddenly. Feeling a chill in the air despite the warm desert night, he opened his eyes and saw a figure standing at the foot of his bed. He described the figure as a woman in a white dress. The dress appeared old and slightly discolored, and her face was pale and gaunt. He couldn't make out her features clearly, but he could sense an overwhelming feeling of sadness emanating from her. He was paralyzed with fear, unable to move or speak. The woman simply stood there, gazing at him with an expression of profound sorrow. After what felt like an eternity, she slowly turned and glided towards the door. She passed through the closed door without opening it, disappearing into the hallway. The businessman was shaken to his core, and he spent the rest of the night wide awake, convinced that he had witnessed something truly extraordinary. The next morning, he told his story to the hotel staff, who confirmed that he was not the first to report such an encounter in room 312. He left Tucson a changed man, his skepticism replaced with a newfound respect for the mysteries of the unknown. And this is just one story among many. Let's consider another account, this one from a former employee of the Hotel Congress, a housekeeper who worked there for over 20 years. She, unlike the businessman, was well aware of the hotel's reputation. She had heard the stories, but she had always dismissed them as folklore, tall tales spun to entertain tourists. That is, until she had her own experience. One afternoon, she was cleaning rooms on the second floor. It was a quiet day, and most of the rooms were unoccupied. As she was vacuuming the hallway outside room 218, she noticed a figure standing at the end of the corridor. She initially assumed it was another housekeeper, but as she got closer, she realized that the figure was different. It was a woman in a white dress, a dress that looked strangely out of place in the modern hotel. The woman's face was obscured by shadows, but the housekeeper could sense that she was looking directly at her. The housekeeper stopped vacuuming, her heart pounding in her chest. She tried to speak, but her voice caught in her throat. The woman in white didn't move or say a word. She simply stood there, her presence radiating an intense feeling of sadness and loneliness. Suddenly, the woman began to fade. Her image flickered, as if she were a television signal losing its connection. Within seconds, she had completely vanished, leaving the housekeeper alone in the hallway, trembling with fear. The housekeeper immediately reported the incident to her supervisor, who listened patiently but offered no explanation. The housekeeper never saw the woman in white again, but she never forgot her experience. She became a believer in the legend of the vanishing bride, sharing her story with anyone who would listen. These are just two examples of the many eyewitness accounts that have been collected over the years. There are countless other stories, each with its own unique details, but all sharing the common thread of a sorrowful woman in a white dress, wandering the halls of the Hotel Congress. But what does it all mean? Are these sightings genuine encounters with a restless spirit, or are they simply the product of imagination, fueled by the hotel's history and the power of suggestion? Perhaps the atmosphere of the hotel, with its antique furnishings, dimly lit hallways, and lingering echoes of the past, creates an environment that is conducive to paranormal experiences. Or maybe, as some skeptics suggest, the sightings are explainable by more mundane factors. The building's architecture, with its odd angles and unexpected shadows, could play tricks on the eye. The lighting, which is often dim and flickering, could create illusions. And the power of suggestion, the knowledge that the hotel is supposedly haunted, could lead people to interpret ordinary occurrences as paranormal phenomena. Regardless of the explanation, the legend of the vanishing bride continues to thrive, drawing tourists and ghost hunters alike to the Hotel Congress. The story has become an integral part of the hotel's identity, a source of fascination and intrigue that adds to its unique appeal. But beyond the ghost stories and the paranormal investigations, what deeper meaning can we draw from this legend? Is it simply a spooky tale to entertain us? Or does it offer a glimpse into something more profound about love, loss, and the enduring power of the human spirit? The question remains, what is the true nature of the vanishing bride? Is she a sentient being, a spirit trapped between worlds, or something else entirely? The varying interpretations of her presence are as fascinating as the sightings themselves. The most romantic, and perhaps the most widely accepted, interpretation is that she is indeed searching for her lost love. The fire separated her from her fiancé, and her spirit is forever bound to the Hotel Congress, endlessly seeking reunion. This theory paints her as a tragic figure, a symbol of eternal love and devotion, forever yearning for what was lost. It speaks to our own desires for connection and the enduring power of love to transcend even death. Another, more somber, interpretation suggests that she is reliving the trauma of the fire. Her spirit is not necessarily searching for her groom, but rather trapped in a loop, endlessly re-experiencing the fear, confusion, and desperation of that fateful night. This theory suggests that the Hotel Congress itself acts as a kind of psychic echo chamber, amplifying the residual energy of the tragic event. She is not a conscious entity, but rather a recording, playing out the same scene over and over again. Then there's the possibility that the vanishing bride is a manifestation of collective grief. The fire was a traumatic event for the entire community, leaving a scar on the collective psyche of Tucson. The legend of the bride may be a way for people to process that grief, to give a face to the loss and suffering that occurred on that day. And this interpretation, she is not just one woman, but a representation of all those who were affected by the fire. Skeptics, of course, offer a more rational explanation. They suggest that the sightings are a form of collective hallucination, fueled by the hotel's history, the power of suggestion, and the human tendency to see what we expect to see. The hotel's atmosphere, with its antique furnishings and dimly lit hallways, creates a sense of unease and anticipation. People who are aware of the legend of the bride are more likely to interpret ambiguous stimuli as evidence of her presence. A creaking floorboard becomes a footstep, a shadow becomes a figure, and a cold draft becomes the presence of a ghost. Furthermore, the human brain is wired to find patterns and meaning, even when none exists in a dimly lit and unfamiliar environment. Our brains may fill in the gaps, creating images and sensations that are not actually there. The power of suggestion can also play a significant role. If we are told that a place is haunted, we are more likely to experience paranormal phenomena, even if those experiences are entirely subjective. Ultimately, the true nature of the vanishing bride remains a mystery. There is no definitive proof to support any one interpretation. It is a story that is open to interpretation, a legend that continues to evolve with each telling. Perhaps the most important thing is not whether she is real or not, but what she represents. The enduring power of love, the lingering effects of trauma, and the human need to connect with the past. Now, let's zoom in again. Let's revisit some of those eyewitness accounts, but this time, let's analyze them with these varying interpretations in mind. How do the details of these encounters support or contradict each of these theories? Let's return to the story of the businessman in room 312. His account is particularly compelling not just for the visual details he provides, but for the profound emotional impact the encounter had on him. Remember, this was a man who considered himself a skeptic, someone who dismissed ghost stories as mere superstition. Imagine waking up in a darkened room, the air suddenly cold despite the desert heat. Your senses are disoriented, your mind still half asleep, and then you see her, a figure standing at the foot of your bed, draped in a shimmering white gown that seems to glow faintly in the darkness. He described the dress not just as white, but as bone white, a color that evoked images of age, decay, and loss. The material seemed to shimmer and flow, even though the air was stilled. It was as if the dress had a life of its own, a ghostly presence that amplified the figure's otherworldly aura. He couldn't make out her face clearly, but he could sense the intensity of her gaze. He described it as a look of profound sadness, a sorrow that seemed to penetrate his very soul. It was a feeling of such overwhelming grief that it paralyzed him with fear. He felt as though he was witnessing a pain so deep and profound that it defied description. He wasn't just seeing a ghost. He was feeling her pain. He was experiencing a visceral connection to her suffering, as if her emotions were being directly transmitted into his mind. This is a common element in many ghost stories, the sense that the apparition is not just a visual phenomenon, but an emotional one as well. The most chilling part of his account, however, was the woman's departure. She didn't walk, she glided. She moved effortlessly across the room, her feet barely seeming to touch the floor. And then, she simply passed through the closed door, disappearing into the hallway as if she were made of smoke. This detail is significant because it defies the laws of physics. It suggests that the figure was not a solid, corporeal being, but something else entirely, something that exists outside the realm of our understanding. Consider this encounter in light of the theories we discussed earlier. Does it support the idea that the bride is searching for her lost love? Perhaps her sorrowful gaze was a plea for help, a silent request to be reunited with her fiancé. Or does it suggest that she is reliving the trauma of the fire? Perhaps her presence in room 312, a room on the upper floors that was likely damaged in the blaze, is a sign that she is trapped in a loop, endlessly re-experiencing the events of that night. Alternatively, could this be a manifestation of collective grief? Perhaps the businessman, as a visitor to Tucson, was particularly susceptible to the psychic energy of the hotel, his mind open to the emotions of those who had suffered in the past. Regardless of the explanation, The businessman's account is a powerful reminder of the enduring power of the legend of the vanishing bride. It is a story that continues to captivate and intrigue, not just because it is spooky, but because it speaks to something deep within us, our own fears, our own desires, and our own enduring fascination with the mysteries of the unknown. It's time to look at how professional paranormal investigators have approached the Hotel Congress. Given the Hotel Congress's rich history and numerous reports of paranormal activity, it's no surprise that it has attracted the attention of paranormal investigators from around the globe. Armed with EMF readers, EVP recorders, and thermal cameras, these ghost hunters have descended upon the hotel, eager to uncover evidence of the vanishing bride and other spectral residents. One of the most well-known investigations was conducted by a team from a popular paranormal television show. They spent several nights at the Hotel Congress, setting up their equipment in various locations known for paranormal activity, including room 312, the copper room, and the second-floor hallway where the housekeeper had her encounter. Using EMF, electromagnetic field readers, they detected fluctuations in electromagnetic energy in several areas of the hotel. While EMF fluctuations can be caused by various factors, such as electrical wiring and electronic devices, some paranormal investigators believe that they can also be indicative of the presence of a spirit. They also attempted to capture EVP, electronic voice phenomena, recordings, which involve recording audio in areas where paranormal activity is suspected, and then analyzing the recordings for unexplained voices or sounds. During their investigation, they claimed to have captured several EVPs, including what sounded like a woman's voice whispering the word wedding. However, the most compelling evidence they gathered came from their thermal cameras in the copper room. They captured an image of a cold spot, a localized area of significantly lower temperature, near the fireplace. Some paranormal investigators believe that cold spots can be caused by spirits drawing energy from the surrounding environment. The team also interviewed several hotel employees and guests, collecting their eyewitness accounts of paranormal activity. They then compared these accounts with their own findings, looking for patterns and correlations. While the team's investigation yielded some interesting results, it ultimately failed to provide definitive proof of the vanishing bride's existence. The EMF fluctuations could have been caused by electrical wiring. The EVPs could have been misinterpretations of background noise, and the cold spot could have been caused by drafts or other environmental factors. Other paranormal investigations have yielded similar results. Some have reported anomalous readings on their equipment, while others have failed to detect any paranormal activity whatsoever. The lack of consistent and verifiable evidence has led some to question the validity of the legend of the vanishing bride. However, the absence of proof is not necessarily proof of absence. Just because paranormal investigators have not been able to capture definitive evidence of the bride's existence does not mean that she is not there. It simply means that the methods and technologies currently available to us are not sensitive enough to detect her presence. It's also important to remember that paranormal investigations are often subjective and open to interpretation. The data collected can be influenced by various factors, including the investigator's own beliefs and expectations. So, what can we conclude from these paranormal investigations? They provide tantalizing hints of something unexplained, but they ultimately fall short of providing conclusive evidence. The mystery of the vanishing bride remains unsolved, leaving us to wonder whether she is a genuine spirit or simply a product of our imagination. But what about those who actively try to debunk the legend? For every believer in the vanishing bride, there's a skeptic ready to offer a more rational explanation. These skeptics argue that the sightings are not evidence of a restless spirit, but rather the result of a combination of factors, including the building's architecture, the lighting, and the power of suggestion. The Hotel Congress, with its age and unique design, is prone to creating visual illusions. The long hallways, with their dimly lit corners and odd angles, can play tricks on the eye, shadows can dance and shift, creating fleeting glimpses of figures that are not really there. The building's old windows can distort light, creating shimmering effects that can be misinterpreted as ghostly apparitions. The lighting in the hotel also contributes to the atmosphere of mystery. The dimly lit hallways and rooms create a sense of unease and anticipation. The flickering lights can cast shadows that dance and move, further enhancing the illusion of paranormal activity. But perhaps the most significant factor is the power of suggestion. The Hotel Congress is known for being haunted. Guests who are aware of the legend of the vanishing bride are more likely to interpret ambiguous stimuli as evidence of her presence. They may see shadows that are not really there, hear sounds that are not really there, and feel chills that are not really there. The human brain is incredibly susceptible to suggestion. If we are told that a place is haunted, we are more likely to experience paranormal phenomena, even if those experiences are entirely subjective. This is known as the placebo effect, and it can be incredibly powerful. Skeptics also point out the lack of verifiable evidence to support the legend of the vanishing bride. There are no official records of a woman named Sarah dying in the 1934 fire. There are no photographs or documents that confirm her existence. The story is based entirely on anecdotal evidence, which is notoriously unreliable. Furthermore, skeptics argue that the eyewitness accounts of the vanishing bride are often inconsistent and contradictory. Some witnesses describe her as being young and beautiful, while others describe her as being old and haggard. Some describe her dress as being pristine and white, while others describe it as being tattered and singed. These inconsistencies suggest that the sightings are not based on a real event, but rather on the imaginations of the witnesses. One common argument is that the legend of the vanishing bride is simply a marketing ploy, a way for the Hotel Congress to attract tourists and boost its business, by promoting the hotel's haunted reputation. The owners can capitalize on the public's fascination with the paranormal. Of course, believers in the vanishing bride dismiss these skeptical arguments as being overly simplistic and dismissive. They argue that the skeptics are ignoring the emotional impact of the sightings, the profound sense of unease and fear that many witnesses have reported experiencing. They also point out that the lack of verifiable evidence does not necessarily disprove the existence of the bride. Perhaps her story has simply been lost to time, or perhaps the evidence has been deliberately suppressed. Ultimately, the debate between believers and skeptics is unlikely to be resolved anytime soon. The mystery of the vanishing bride is a matter of faith, a question that each individual must answer for themselves. But even if you don't believe in ghosts, it's hard to deny the enduring power of the story, its ability to captivate and intrigue, and its role in shaping the identity of the Hotel Congress. So, what is it about this story that resonates so deeply? The enduring appeal of the vanishing bride story lies not just in its spookiness, but in its exploration of universal themes: love, loss, and the enduring power of stories to shape our understanding of the world. The story of the vanishing bride is, at its heart, a tragic love story. It speaks to our deepest desires for connection and the fear of being separated from those we love. The image of a young woman, forever searching for her lost groom, is a powerful symbol of the enduring power of love to transcend even death. It reminds us that love can be a force that is both beautiful and devastating, a force that can bind us to this world even after we are gone. The story also explores the theme of loss. The fire at the Hotel Congress was a traumatic event that caused immense suffering and loss. The legend of the vanishing bride is a way for us to grapple with that loss, to give a face to the pain and suffering that occurred on that day. It reminds us that loss is an inevitable part of life, but that it is also something that can be overcome, that can be transformed into something meaningful. But perhaps the most significant reason for the story's enduring appeal is its exploration of the power of stories. Stories are how we make sense of the world. They are how we transmit knowledge, values, and beliefs from one generation to the next. They are how we connect with each other, how we build communities, and how we create meaning in our lives. The story of the vanishing bride is a powerful example of how stories can shape our perceptions of reality. Whether or not she is real, her story has become an integral part of the Hotel Congress's identity. It has shaped the way people experience the hotel, the way they interact with its staff, and the way they remember their time there. The story has also become a part of the cultural landscape of Tucson. It is a tale that is passed down from one generation to the next, a local legend that is as much a part of the city's history as its Spanish colonial architecture and its desert landscapes, and a world that is increasingly dominated by technology and science. The story of the vanishing bride reminds us of the importance of mystery, imagination, and the unexplained. It reminds us that there are things in this world that we cannot fully understand, that there are forces at work that are beyond our control. The story also reminds us of the power of hope. Even in the face of tragedy, the legend of the vanishing bride offers a glimmer of hope, a suggestion that love can endure, that the human spirit can triumph, and that even death is not the end. So, the next time you find yourself at the Hotel Congress, take a moment to consider the story of the vanishing bride. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, it's hard to deny the enduring power of this tale, its ability to captivate and intrigue, and its role in shaping the identity of this historic landmark. But what about the hotel itself today? Today, the Hotel Congress stands as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring power of history. It's no longer just a stopover for weary travelers. It's a vibrant cultural center, a popular tourist destination, and a living museum where the past feels very much alive. The hotel has been meticulously restored, preserving its original Mission Revival architecture and its historic charm. The rooms are furnished with antique furniture. The hallways are lined with vintage photographs, and the Copper Room bar still exudes the atmosphere of a bygone era. But the Hotel Congress is not just a relic of the past, it's also a thriving hub of contemporary culture. The hotel hosts live music performances, art exhibitions, and theatrical productions. It's a place where artists, musicians, and writers gather to create and collaborate. The Copper Room bar remains a popular destination for locals and tourists alike. It's a place where you can enjoy a classic cocktail, listen to live music, and soak up the atmosphere of a historic landmark. The hotel also has a restaurant that serves delicious southwestern cuisine, using fresh, local ingredients. Despite its modern amenities and its vibrant cultural scene, the Hotel Congress has not forgotten its past. The legend of the vanishing bride is still very much alive, and the hotel embraces its haunted reputation. Guests can request to stay in room 312, the room where the businessman had his chilling encounter. The hotel staff are happy to share stories of paranormal activity and to answer questions about the legend of the vanishing bride. The Hotel Congress also hosts ghost tours, which take visitors through the hotel's most haunted locations and share stories of paranormal encounters. These tours are a popular attraction for tourists and locals alike, and they provide a unique opportunity to experience the hotel's history and its haunted reputation. The Hotel Congress is more than just a hotel. It's a community gathering place. It's a place where people come to celebrate, to mourn, to connect with each other, and to experience the magic of history. The past and present coexist at the Hotel Congress. The echoes of the past reverberate through the hallways, reminding us of the hotel's rich history and the countless stories that have unfolded within its walls. But the present is also very much alive, with its vibrant cultural scene, its bustling bar, and its welcoming atmosphere. The Hotel Congress is a place where you can step back in time, but also experience the energy of the present. It's a place where you can learn about the past, but also create your own memories. It's a place where you can believe in ghosts, or dismiss them as folklore, but still appreciate the power of stories to shape our understanding of the world. It's a place where the vanishing bride, whether real or imagined, continues to wander the halls, a reminder of the enduring power of love, loss, and the human spirit. And as you check out, you might just hear one last whisper. But before we get to that, one final anecdote to set the stage. The story comes from a young couple who stayed at the Hotel Congress just last year. They were celebrating their anniversary and, knowing the hotel's reputation, had specifically requested a room on the second floor, hoping for a glimpse of the famous ghost. They considered themselves open-minded but skeptical, intrigued by the legend but not entirely convinced. They spent the evening enjoying the hotel's vibrant atmosphere, having dinner in the restaurant and drinks at the Copper Room Billard. As they walked back to their room, they couldn't help but feel a sense of anticipation, wondering if they would encounter anything paranormal. They went to bed around midnight, leaving the lights off and the window open to let in the cool desert air. Sometime in the early hours of the morning, the woman awoke with a start. She felt a presence in the room, a sense that she was not alone. She nudged her husband awake, and he groggily opened his eyes at first. He didn't see anything, but as his eyes adjusted to the darkness, he noticed a faint glow emanating from the corner of the room. They both stared at the corner, trying to make out what was causing the light. Slowly, a shape began to form. That it was a figure, vaguely human in form, but indistinct and ethereal. That it seemed to shimmer and waver, as if it were made of light and shadow. They couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman, but they both felt an overwhelming sense of sadness emanating from the figure. It didn't move or speak, but it simply stood there, its presence radiating a profound feeling of loss and longing. After what felt like an eternity, the figure began to fade. The light dimmed, the shape dissolved, and within seconds, it was gone. The couple was left alone in the darkness, trembling with a mixture of fear and awe. The next morning, they told their story to the hotel staff, who listened with interest but offered no explanation. The staff member simply smiled and said, "Well, it sounds like you met someone who wanted to say hello." The couple left the Hotel Congress with a story to tell, a story that they would recount for years to come. They still aren't sure what they saw that night. Was it the vanishing bride? Was it something else entirely? Or was it simply a trick of the light, a product of their imaginations? They may never know the answer, but they both agree that it was an experience they will never forget. It was a reminder that there are things in this world that we cannot fully understand, that there are mysteries that are beyond our comprehension. And so, the legend of the vanishing bride continues to thrive, a testament to the enduring power of stories, the enduring mystery of the human spirit, and the enduring allure of the Hotel Congress. Perhaps, if you listen closely enough as you check out, you too will hear that faint, whispered sigh, a gentle echo of a love that time, and even death, could not extinguish. Good night.